So good afternoon and welcome everyone. And thanks for joining us today for the online symposium featuring the cohort 2 of the Engineering for One Planet mini grant program. My name is Dr. Jackie El-Sayed and I'm ASWE's Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director. I would like to start this event by providing some background information about the Engineering for One Planet mini grant program, or EOP-MGP for short. Global environmental challenges are among the most pressing social and economic issues that we face today. With funding from the Lemelson Foundation and under the umbrella of their signature Engineering for One Planet framework, EOP-MGP provides engineering faculty with the opportunity to design and pilot curricula that focus on instilling concepts of sustainability. This is done through mini grant funding, mentoring, and a community of practice. For more information on the program, visit eopmgp.asee.org. Since July 2022, 27 faculty teams have been selected to participate in this program, 13 in the first cohort and 14 in this second cohort. These teams were selected from pools of more than 100 applicants each year. During this event, we will hear from cohort 2 awardees. Let me talk now about today's agenda. During today's symposium, we will first learn about the EOP initiative from Cindy Cooper, Senior Program Director at the Lemelson Foundation. Next, we will hear program reflections from our advisory board. The highlight of today's program will be when each faculty team shares posters that showcase the curricula change projects they have piloted at their institutions. Each team will have 3 minutes to present, followed by 1 minute of feedback from the mentors and attendees. Please plan to contribute. We'd love to hear from everyone who's joined today. Now, some logistical reminders. Before we continue, please note the following reminders. Please be fully present and try not to multitask. You are welcome to ask questions using the Q&A pod. A member of the ASEE staff is monitoring the pod, and we will do our best to answer your questions promptly. Please be aware that this event is being recorded and live transcription is available. Now it's time to introduce Cindy Cooper.
Thank you very much.
ASEE has had the pleasure of working closely with Cindy throughout the first 2 cohorts of the program. Cindy joined the Lemelson Foundation in 2017 and currently leads their EOP and Higher Education Initiative. A Brazilian American, Cooper received a 40 Under 40 award for her leadership and impressive contribution. Her work has been featured in Fast Company magazine, Stanford Social Innovation Review, and NPR. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you so much. I cannot start my video, but that's all right. I don't need it. I just really appreciate your kind introduction. Sorry for talking over you. You were saying more about me.
You can start your video now, Cindy.
Oh, thanks. The 40 Under 40 award was many years ago, so it's not quite the case anymore. But great to be here with you all.
You didn't have to tell anybody that.
Don't want to mislead people. Here are my slides. Hopefully that's working now. But it's such a pleasure to be here with all of you. I cannot believe the turnout for this event, and thank you all for taking the time. I'm actually going to stop my video so that we can just focus on the slides. But yes, thank you so much. I am amazed and humbled at the turnout. I'm also really excited about the achievements of this cohort and to share this with you all. You know, some of you may not know that EOP is really only a few years old, and this program in particular is just finishing its 2nd year. So it's incredible to see how the traction has grown. All right, so congratulations to cohort 2 of the EOP mini grant program from ASEE. You did it. We are so excited to hear from you today. I wish everyone who is on this Zoom could actually applaud you so you could hear that. That's the drawback of Zoom. I'm so excited about the changes that you guys have already created and the things that you're going to do next. You really exemplify what we mean when we say that EOP is not just about changing engineering courses, it's about changing the course of engineering. I also want to take a second to thank the incredible people who've made this program possible. Curricular change is hard, and luckily we have amazing support from many people. The ASEE staff is incredibly talented and hardworking. I'm so lucky I get to work with all of you. They put together an incredible advisory team who've also worked really hard to support the direction and success of this program. They're incredibly generous, smart, and thoughtful people, as are the mentors. These are the folks who keep the projects supported. Each mentor works with 2 teams, and they provide everything from tactical to strategic advice on things like how to teach certain topics, or how to lead curricular change, how to integrate principles of DEIJ into education, and that's getting harder and harder in some places, and how to measure and evaluate impact. So we could not run this program without all of you, and we're so grateful. And then I just want to invite you all to keep in touch. The graduates of this cohort, the Lemelson Foundation loves to showcase your work through social media, through publications that we could do together, through speaking opportunities. So please keep in touch. And then shifting gears a little bit, I was asked to give an overview of EOP, or Engineering for One Planet, because many of you on the call aren't familiar with it. And this event is really focused on the ASEE EOP Mini Grant Program, but there are other strategic initiatives in the program. And if you're not familiar with the goal, it's to transform engineering education, so all engineers are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and understanding to protect and improve our planet and our lives. Where did this program come from? Who catalyzed Engineering for One Planet? So you see here, the Lemelson Foundation, we worked with a long-term partner, VentureWell, to catalyze the program. And for those unfamiliar with the Lemelson Foundation, it's a private family foundation started 30 years ago by Jerry Lemelson. He was one of the most prolific independent inventors in America with over 600 patents. We're still led by the board. The family. The board is still led by the family, and the mission of the Lemelson Foundation is improving lives through invention. We believe that the most successful inventors and companies will be those that build sustainability in from the start. And the foundation has been committed to principles of sustainability for many, many years. So although Lemelson and VentureWell catalyzed the Engineering for One Planet initiative, and the Lemelson Foundation financially supports it, it really is a program that reflects the community. It's driven by collaboration, and hundreds of people have helped shape Engineering for One Planet through extensive feedback and continuous feedback into the program. We don't own EOP. We consider this a public good. No one owns it. It's here to make things easier in terms of bringing sustainability into engineering education. One of the things that's really core to programs like the ASEE EOP Mini Grant Program is to foster learning. We know that will accelerate the changes. We don't want great ideas to just sit behind closed doors. So events like this are a great way for faculty to help each other by sharing across institutions. We launched officially in 2020, and in our first couple of years, we had an amazing strategic advisory group that guided that startup phase. And that included students and faculty, industry professionals, people from professional associations, nonprofit, philanthropic professionals. And that was a fantastic way to kick off the work, in addition to the hundreds of stakeholders that we engaged with prior to launching and since. Why do we need to change engineering education? One, because engineers impact everything around us, and those impacts can be positive, they can be negative, but not all engineers are being trained or have been trained in sustainability. Number two, sustainability is an imperative for our youth. These are the folks that we are supporting through education, and they are demanding that they include sustainability as a priority in their lives, in their educational choices, in their career choices, because their health and futures depend on it. And then sustainability is also an imperative for industry. You know, they want to attract those fantastic young people. They believe it's the right thing to do, and because it's also the right thing to do for business. LinkedIn has reported that the demand for green skills will soon outpace the supply of people with green skills across functions in many industries. And so we're in a race to develop the workforce. Also, engineering education has massive reach and scope. In the US alone, we're graduating over 140,000 undergrad engineers each year. But did you know that less than 1%, only about 1,200 of those folks are in environmental engineering? So consider the positive impact we can have right now and in the future if all engineers are equipped with skills to address our growing environmental and social sustainability challenges. Systems change is required in this effort. So it's not just about a course here and there. And so you see that reflected in the Engineering for One Planet activities. One of the things that was very clear in our stakeholder feedback is that both bottom-up and top-down approaches are needed. It's this complex work, and this is why everyone is invited to collaborate. And these are the three kind of key interrelated approaches that we're taking in EOP to catalyze systems change. The first thing we needed to do was to talk about, well, what is it that the students need to learn in order to protect and improve our planet and our lives? And so the first bullet there, developing and sharing resources through community feedback and vetting those resources, is where we started. And I'll tell you a little bit more about those resources in a second. 2, funding faculty change efforts, supporting capacity building efforts, things like the ASEE EOP mini grant program. And 3, activating and supporting collaboration among diverse stakeholders across sectors. So the EOP framework is the cornerstone of the EOP initiative, and it includes 9 topic areas that you see here on the right and 93 distinct learning outcomes. And this is this menu of what can we go out and teach our students that they're not currently getting? Faculty can select things from this menu that fit their courses, whether it's a new course or ideally something they're already teaching, bringing in these topics into things that are already required, already part of a curriculum, and bringing this lens into it, we've found to be the easiest and fastest way to do that. And there are core and advanced topics in the framework. It's been vetted through pilot grants and now many more grants and tests that have taken place through this program, for example, and others. We've revised it since we first launched it with lots of stakeholder feedback. The EOP framework is also mapped to the ABET accreditation requirements related to sustainability. So every single one of those learning outcomes, you can see how it helps to achieve accreditation requirements for ABET. It's mapped to UN SDG 12, and very soon we'll have a version that is mapped to the UK accreditation of AHEP. So just about as soon as we launched the framework, folks said, this is great, love to see these ideas for what needs to be taught, but how do I actually do that? And so in 2023, we launched 3 new teaching guides that are companions to the EOP framework, and each one has a different approach to how to teach the learning outcomes. So I'm not going to go into them in detail, but this is all available for free on the website to be downloaded, and I encourage you to check those out. We've partnered with Villanova University. They were one of the first EOP grantees, pilot grantees, who tested the first framework. They are, we're supporting funding for them to develop and pilot EOP faculty trainings. They also got funding from another source that they're using to translate the EOP framework into Spanish. That's been a popular request. I mentioned that we're also funding things. So these are kind of the 3 general curricular change funding buckets that we've pursued. One are the seed grants, things like the EOP mini grant program, institutionalization grants, which we've provided for expanding beyond a few courses to really try to take hold and more critical mass at an institution. And 3, larger funds that we're seeking to do with co-funding partners. And I'll share a very exciting example of that soon. Oh, my screen just zoomed in. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of folks that have received grants through the Lemelson Foundation and through the ASEE program that we fund. There are 34 so far, but many people are using EOP resources who haven't received funding. This is a snapshot of key metrics, and I won't go into all of this, but suffice it to say, there's been a lot of engagement with EOP, hundreds of courses that reflect EOP learning outcomes now, and faculty across the US and even around the world who are using the tools. Thousands of folks have been exposed to these activities and through our presentations and engagement. So this is about awards and funding, and you're going to be more familiar with this program soon. I know that the selection is going to start for the next cohort of the program, and just stay tuned, follow EOP, follow ASEE for potential future announcements about future mini grant program opportunities. There's a new award that we launched with ABET this year, and any ABET accredited program can apply for that. Applications are due April 20th. Alex, if you're able to share that link, that would be great. You probably are working on that. I can't see it. Thank you so much. And then another exciting announcement is this co-funding with the National Science Foundation, which we just announced a few weeks ago. We are thrilled that Lemelson is co-funding up to $3 million over 3 years with the NSF's Research and the Formation of Engineers program through a Dear Colleague letter that's focused on exactly these kinds of change programs. So that's an example of that propagation. How do we work with other funders to create even larger changes than we can do through our solo funds at the Lemelson Foundation. Some other resources I want to share with you. EOP isn't the only program out there doing this kind of thing, supporting curricular change. We weren't the first, we won't be the last. These are a couple that we've collaborated with and that are coming out soon or have already come out. From the Engineering Professors Council in the UK with support from Siemens Digital. There's a sustainability toolkit coming out in March. And then from the Engineers Without Borders UK and the Royal Academy of Engineering, there are some resources. One has already been launched, the Global Responsibility Competency Compass, and then a reimagined degree map is coming out in March as well. So again, just some examples. There's just a lot of support for this out there. These are some that we've worked with. We've also collaborated with other groups, such as you see on this screen. Again, we really believe that collaboration is the fuel for systems change. I won't go into all of this, but it's been a privilege and honor to work with these groups. And then we invite all of you to get engaged. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is needed. Your voice and your actions make a difference. And you're also not alone. It can feel like, hey, I don't know where to start, but just know there are others out there who have started and felt the same way, and we can help each other. 3 ways that you can take immediate action. Here we go. 1, you can download and share the free online resources. This QR code can take you there, and I think Alex is sharing all of this. You can tell others. You can also become a signatory on the EOP website. Literally, lend your text voice. You can write a message, and you include your headshot, and your message will be included on our signatories page. So check it out and see if you want to add yourself to that. And we invite you to not miss any news and opportunity that gets announced, because things are coming at us quickly. There is an EOP newsletter that's about quarterly. So if you want to sign up for that, we definitely encourage you to do that. That can include announcements, but also kind of looking back at publications, for example, reports, things like that. And then if you want breaking news kind of almost on a daily basis, follow us on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. And I really am so excited to hear from our awardee presenters next, and appreciate this opportunity to share EOP with you all.
Cindy, we
Thank
have
you,
a couple
Cindy.
questions.
Thanks so much.
Oh, great.
Cindy, we have a question from Catherine asking, is the ABET grant available for Latin American universities?
For any ABET accredited university, it is available.
Okay, great. And Enrique added in the chat, and Enrique, I'm wondering if you could add some clarification. Are international applications possible? Enrico, for what program were you inquiring? Enrique, sorry. And for Nazguri, yes, we can also give you the links that were posted in the chat. Cindy's going to stay on so she can respond to questions in the chat as well. And we're going to keep it moving.
Go back to the slides.
Yep.
So thank you, Cindy, so much. That was so fascinating. And obviously from the response, everybody's very excited. So next, I'm going to follow up. Cindy already mentions our wonderful advisory board, but now we're actually going to hear a few words from our wonderful advisory board. The EOP-MGP advisory board has been invaluable to our project team. Our board members come from both industry and academia and are involved with every aspect of the program, from the applicant selection to program evaluation. And now I'm going to introduce each of our advisory board members. First, I would like to introduce our newest board member, Abdulmalik Ismail. Abdulmalik is a graduate student in the Department of Civil, Construction, and Environmental Engineering at the University of Alabama. He has worked as a civil and structural engineer in both consulting and construction for over 3 years. He last worked as an assistant structural engineer in the African engineering headquarters of the American Tower Corporation in Nigeria. Second, we'd also like to welcome Aisha Lowry from Amazon Web Services, where she leads training and certification for the Global Education Program. Dr. Lowry has over 20 years of experience as a STEM advocate with a focus on increasing the number of women in engineering. Next is David Sanchez, Associate Director for the Mascaro Center for Sustainable Innovation at the University of Pittsburgh. Dr. Sanchez is responsible for building research and scholarly initiatives around sustainable water, sustainable food, sustainable innovation, and global engagement. He also oversees the undergraduate and graduate sustainability curriculum at the University School of Engineering. And finally, Michelle Marincel Payne joins us from the Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. As Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering, she is currently leading a student research project investigating the ability of constructed treatment wetlands to remove stormwater pollutants. Dr. Marincel Payne co-taught Rose-Hulman's first appropriate technologies course, in which students designed novel ways to pump water to reach an off-grid village. And now I'll turn it over to the advisory committee.
You all set, David?
Yeah, can everybody
I think we're starting with Dr. Michelle Payne, Marincel Payne.
Thank you. Michelle, are you with us?
I think she is. She just sent something in the chat. I'll go ahead and take on her slide real quick. The one things that she wanted to highlight were definitely cohort one's teams. And so this was the first kickoff. Very, very good. There were trailblazers in a lot of sense, especially because of the fact that it was the initial running of the EOP mini grant. And so here you can see the breadth of organizations that participated, and they did a wonderful job. Go to the next slide. So there were 13 teams, right? And they impacted more than 1,000 students, mostly undergraduate students. But it was important because these students who are early in their careers, who are able to, impact their college and future careers, also push the educational system to kind of be transformed around the EOP network. There were nearly 50 students, and it's exciting to continue to build upon this initial community of practice. Finally, it's important to continue to find collaborations and opportunities with people on this call and in the larger community. Next slide. So this is you, and congratulations again for all the work you've done. And a big thank you to the mentors. It's your idea. Your idea is your work and their mentorship that really allows this work to happen or the program to be successful. I know Cindy had put this up, but I do want to ask everybody to appreciate just the geographical range of what you have here, and the different types of organizations that are participating. So this is while it's the second cohort, right there, it's just expanding the community of practice. And so very, very proud of everybody who's been on here and who's been working on this. Go to the next slide. So in looking at this, when we summarize a lot of the metrics, it's kind of interesting to see we have 65 new courses and about 2,000 students enrolled in all courses developed. And I just started to think, I was like, oh, I guess this is like an EOP Department of Engineering. It's like you're creating a new one. And so I'm really amazed by just the unique types of impacts. I mean, it runs the range from very early in the engineering education experience all the way to those who are more seasoned or in capstones. And the 68 faculty who use the framework to either bring in a module or inform their classes, or really take a big stab at transforming their department or their program or their university was extraordinarily impressive. And so we had 14 grants this time and a ton of interest. So we are excited to keep this going. And thank you to ASEE and to Lemelson for allowing the program to continue. So from here, I think I'll pass it on to Abdul Malik. Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more slide. Next slide, please. My bad.
There you go.
So here are just some of the other characteristics. I showed you the numbers. For many of you for engineering programs, it's often what you like to see. But some of the characteristics, and these were drawn out not only from their applications, but also from their other proposals and their work to date. Some of it was just the commitment to want to do this, right? So many were intrinsically motivated. It was more about gaining access to a community of practice and an access to a framework that has been established, has been vetted, and is connected to so many of the institutional paradigms that we have, right? ABET included. Faculty champions. This is probably, faculty champions are the biggest catalyst for any university. And so to take a look again, and when you're hearing about all the programs that we have and from the awardees, what you're looking at as they present are these faculty champions who are key to changing things at their university. Lots of things that they were selected for were likely to scale, but also had a lot of buy-in from their leadership. And many of you I know who are on here, many of the leaders, whether it's department chairs or it's deans, welcome and thank you for your support. The last three, this commitment to DEIJ, in this cohort, one of the unique things was the inclusion of 6 minority serving institutions and the ability to reach students in diverse disciplines. So this was even more rounded out in this cohort. And again, congratulations on all the work that you've done. Now I will pass it over to Abdul Malik. So, congrats.
You all set?
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, David, for doing all the job for every one of us here, and I really appreciate that. And also to the other advisory board members, I really appreciate this opportunity to present this. So basically, this is just a slide, showing the diverse background and the disciplines of the various awardees from cohort 1 to 2. Okay, so basically for cohort 1, as you can see, in no particular order, we have business, law, and arts and design. We also have, engineering and sciences. From the engineering, we have the civil, plastic, chemical, and construction. Then we have computer science, material science, and robotics. Then we also have the environmental management and industrial manufacturing. So for the cohort 2, this is just an addition to what we have in cohort 1. We have the applied physics, physics, mathematics, integrated design engineering, and so on. And more interesting right now is, we're going to start the cohort 3 soon, and the application are under review. And I could tell you, this for free. Looking at the application so far, I mean, a lot of exciting things are coming from the applicants. And I think we're going to see even more, diversity in terms of the interdisciplinarity of the awardees this time around. So like Cindy said, the whole idea is to make engineering a habit. We're trying to check the cost of engineering by incorporating sustainability into the system. And I really hope, with this effort, we'll all get to a stage whereby, everybody, practicing anywhere in the world, whenever and whatever they want to do, they would have it in their mind that sustainability has to be part of the process from the beginning to the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to Advisory Committee. Michelle, I am sorry that you were not able to speak. If you do want to say a quick couple of words, you're a panelist now, so you should be able to.
Thank you. You're very kind. I think David did an excellent job summarizing. I just wanted to encourage this cohort to continue to think about how they can leverage the larger cohorts the larger community of practice that we've had as we continue to build our community of practice. So congrats to everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Michelle. So teams, ASEE will be sharing your posters on the screen, and then we will be advancing the slide for the awardees that are presenting. Now, awardees, if you notice your slide is no longer showing, please wrap up right away. This indicates that it's time to move to the next team. Please remember that your presentation cannot exceed 3 minutes, and there'll be about 1 minute for comments after each presentation. We ask that you remain conscious of your time while presenting. We're going to take a 10-minute break after half the teams have presented their posters. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Alex. Alex?
Yep, I am here. I'm just getting my slides ready. So this slide looks a little bit odd because I just copied and pasted it to show you all the presentation order for today. So we're going to begin with Kettering University. So Pamela, I believe that you are presenting, and all team members from Kettering, please feel free to share your webcam and your audio. I'm gonna get my timer ready. Here, teams.
All right, we're here and ready. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Pamela Carolera. I'm an assistant professor of environmental humanities in the liberal arts department at Kettering University, and I'm part of a 3-person team on the Kettering EOP grant with team members Montserrat Rubago-Smith, associate professor of organic chemistry, and Susan Farhat, associate professor of chemical engineering. And the goal behind our project was to take the first step towards a cohesive cross-campus sustainability curriculum. Our team wanted to tackle 2 things with our EOP grant. Number one, we wanted sustainability recently became a focus area for the university, but sustainability offerings across the undergraduate curriculum are currently limited and disjointed. And number 2, as a result of sustainability offerings being limited and disjointed, students who are not enrolled in what is our brand new minor in sustainability are less likely to be exposed to sustainability related courses. So to remedy these 2 issues, our team decided to create learning modules that number 1, focus on key themes that would resonate across courses in different departments and that emphasize sustainability thinking and shared the EOP framework. Number 2, that faculty, no matter what department they are in, could use these modules as a baseline and mold their individual courses so that that they're not creating sustainability-related classroom material from scratch. And number 3, introducing these sustainability modules early in the university curriculum, particularly through gateway courses in the general education curriculum, which will provide a platform for sustainability learning in upper level engineering courses. We ended up creating 3 case study videos on lithium and sustainability and an accompanying lesson plan that introduces and explores environmental justice within the context of lithium use and production. And our goal here was to focus on a topic that dovetails with Kettering's historic and ongoing rootedness in the automotive industry, and lithium is an essential part of the electric car industry. So this was a fitting place to start, and we wanted to ensure that student learning incorporated DEIJ principles to incite critical thinking around the challenges and possibilities of lithium use in the world with growing lithium demand. Our lithium learning videos were created and then piloted across first or early year courses, and one upper level chemistry course. The lesson plan was piloted in a liberal arts gateway course, and we followed up learning with survey questions to assess the achievement of social, environmental, and EOP outcomes. What we found from surveys was that the material helped students achieve learning outcomes in EOP objectives that include systems thinking, social responsibility and environmental literacy, material selection, and critical thinking, among others. We found that 28% of participants answered yes when asked if they would be interested in pursuing the sustainability minor. So our next steps are boosting student interest in sustainability and continuing to spread future and current case studies across the curriculum for faculty incorporation. We would like to close with thanking the Lemelson Foundation and the ASEE for enabling our efforts, and to extend a really warm thanks to our 2 mentors, Dr. Jenny Muller and, Dr. Jenny Muller and Dr. Darshan Karwat from Arizona State University for their support throughout the process. So thanks. Sorry for that. My timer's going off.
Thank you so much. You really must have practiced. It was right on time.
Trying. Thank you.
So we now have a minute or 2 for feedback from Kettering's mentors, if they're in the room, or from the attendees. And please note that while we just have a minute after each presentation, you can still send messages to these teams in the chat.
I will also put my contact information in the chat in case anybody wants to follow up with anybody on the Kettering team.
I see a hand raised. If you're a panelist, you could just speak if you have your hand raised. Dustin, go ahead.
Okay, hi. I just was curious, the questions that you asked the students, was that based on just a list of questions you're interested in asking the students, or was that based on any kind of like literature-based surveying instrument on kind of sustainability attitudes of any kind?
No, this was based on, we were primarily interested in figuring out whether we incited any initial passion for sustainability. And so we weren't pulling from any literature. We were developing questions to figure out what we might need to change, and whether students were inculcating in any way the EOP outcomes, or able to speak to the EOP outcomes.
Okay, great. They look really well aligned with the different EOP outcomes. So I was curious. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
one more quick question, and there are a couple more in the chat, so keep an eye on that, Pamela. Did you use pre and post surveys for these 7 questions, or only after the case study?
We only use it after the case study. What we found out was that it would be helpful to have the pre and post questions, especially in the freshman and gateway level courses, where students would not have any perhaps previous exposure to sustainability topics. So we're planning on incorporating that. That's part of our many next steps.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, and we are now moving on to Lawrence Technological University. Will the presenters from that team please feel free to share your webcam and your audio?
Thank you very much. So our team at Lawrence Tech is from Civil and Architectural Engineering, and it includes Keith Kolkowski, Edmund Yuan, Mamdouh Mohammed, Moteza Nassar Jerez, and myself, Elin Jensen. And we also wish to extend our thanks to the Lemelson Foundation, ASEE, and our mentors. So in civil and architectural engineering, we do have metrics such as LEED and WELL to measure and recognize the commitment to sustainability, public health, and well-being. However, it's not required that these metrics are attained by every building, community, or city. So also we have had some recent changes to the ABET civil engineering program criteria, and specifically for 24-25, it states that the curriculum must include the application of sustainability in civil engineering problems. So for students, this means that they must be exposed to different perspectives and tools so they can apply the principles of sustainability. So our goal was to integrate the EOP framework throughout the curriculum. We combined the approach by taking using the published EOP material, and two, we developed our own modules to address specific challenges. The three key modules that we designed focus on the topic areas: systems thinking, social responsibility, environmental impact assessment, and team dynamics and communication. The middle of the poster provides some highlights of the courses. In the freshman level class, the key was for students to recognize that sustainable projects are planned and designed to meet current and future needs of the stakeholders. The students developed the conceptual design for a transit center, and they practiced system thinking while considering the interaction between social, cultural, environmental, and economical factors. And the teams embraced the practice of adaptive reuse and optimization of green infrastructure. In the junior level construction engineering class, the goal was to introduce life cycle assessment using building information modeling, BIM. Students created a two-story building, selected construction materials, and completed environmental impact assessments. And the students recognized that engineers have the highest chance to influence sustainability decisions during the early design phase. The senior level capstone project is a collaborative and cooperative team experience, and nearly all the topic areas are addressed here. And we want to highlight two new student and faculty workshops that we developed. First, we had a workshop on team dynamics and communication through a DEI lens. Faculty had in prior years experienced that some teams were unable to produce their best work because the students' resources were spent on resolving team issues. And faculty advisors now report that the new tools, they are indeed productive. A second workshop addressed cultural factors. Faculty observed that this initiative resulted in deeper reflections in the team's proposals, indicating that the students did gain new perspective and skills. In conclusion, we are eager to continue the effort and to assess the impact of elevating application of sustainability in our programs.
Great, thank you so much. Do we have any questions or feedback? Sometimes it takes a minute for it to come to people.
Hi there, I'd like to ask a quick question around the team growth activities or the team conflict activities, if there's any specific examples you might be able to share.
Yeah, so the students used a model to first look at their own values and their own expectations around teamwork, and then they continued on to developing a comprehensive agreement within the team about how to address conflicts as they may arise. And then throughout the 2 semesters, because we have a senior project over fall and spring, the faculty advisor, the team faculty advisor, will meet with the students every 1 to 2 weeks, and they have time set aside to specifically talk about team dynamics and communication.
Thank you so much, Aylin. And for the sake of time, I think we're going to move on to our next team. But there is a question in the chat, Aylin, if you're able to respond to that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And our next presentation is from Manhattan College.
Hi, thank you. My name is Qian Wang. We are a team of 8 faculty members in 6 different subdisciplines of civil and environmental engineering at Manhattan College, including structural and geotechnical engineering, transportation, materials, water and environmental engineering, and construction management. So the idea of our project is instead of teaching sustainability in 1 or 2 isolated courses, we decided to go with a system level approach based on the EOP framework. So we have a total of 16 participating CEE courses at different levels, from sophomore all the way to graduate level. Now, for all the courses, we developed mapped learning objectives, activities, and assessment. The project impacts is essentially a curriculum upgrade across the board. Now, the broader impacts includes training modules, methods, presentations, publications, collaborations with other instructors and potentially other institutions, and of course, outreach activities as well. The project progress in fall 2023, we had 6 courses taught by 7 instructors, a total of 216 students enrolled. By including DEIG topics, we developed or implemented different course modules, homework assignments, projects, presentations, and webinars. The assessment results based on survey and interview of students showed positive feedbacks and suggestions. So generally speaking, students showed considerable interest or passion in sustainability. That ratio from 38% all the way increased to 67%. Also, students showed increased knowledge in sustainability from 5% to 36%. Based on students' feedback, they generally think the quality is above satisfactory, good, or excellent. That's about 96%. And the length of the modules is appropriate. 80% of students think so. The project next step and the scaling up. So right now in the spring 2024, we have 7 courses ongoing. We're going to document the outcomes, assessment, and the final project reports. Based on the feedbacks from our mentors, industry advisor, and the students, we are going to fine-tune the course materials, and with the support of the administration, we're going to collaborate with other instructors and hopefully other institutions as well. Finally, I would like to represent my team, thank the Lemelson Foundation, ASEE, and Manhattan College. Special thanks to our mentors, Adam and Jenny, and our industry advisor, Jithu, for meeting with us, providing a lot of feedback, guiding us through this process. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. We have time for a quick question. I'll give it a few more seconds and then we'll move on and give you the opportunity to interact with Kian in the chat.
I'd like to ask a question, just out of curiosity. I know you have done the survey for all students enrolled in the 6 classes that you were saying for the first round. Do you have any plans to do individual impact analysis for the students' perceptions?
That's a good suggestion. We need to think about this, how this can be done. Also, with the discussion with our mentors, we were thinking about looking at the impact from multiple courses. If a student be able to take multiple courses, how that impact would be in comparison with the students only taking 1 course. So the idea would be if we do this in a systematic way from a longitudinal point of view, we may be able to see bigger impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're going to move on to the next presentation, but Kian, if you can see the Q&A pod, there are a couple questions in there that you might be able to answer on your own.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now moving on to North Carolina A&T.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So our project was it's three institutions. So it was three different universities working together. Myself, Nelson Granda, working with Dr. Jasmina Burek from University of Massachusetts Lowell, and Dr. Jiang Sang from the Western Carolina University. So this project was focused mostly on faculty rather than on the students. So we were looking to see how we can expand the use of the EOP framework in different courses, specifically trying to target introductory and project-based learning courses. So we developed a workshop where we invite several faculty across different universities, including community colleges here in North Carolina. The idea was to get with these faculties and trying to introduce the EOP framework and how it has been used in the past, as well with the backwards course design methodologies, so they can create their own modules with the help of our instructors. So the faculty who was participating in these workshops were able to create one module where they focus on sustainability topics for their students. So the whole workshop was divided in two different phases, where the first one was we were creating the workshop, getting the materials, and then we develop and connect with the faculty who were participants. And then we are in the current state of following up with the faculty who participated on these workshops, trying to help them be able to implement the module that they developed during the workshops. Some of the assessment that we did was a survey for the faculty who participate in the workshop, and we are currently trying to get approval for allowed us to survey the students of the faculty who participate in workshops, because these students are going to be like indirect impact of the workshop that we develop and presented with the faculty. Some interesting facts from the responses from the faculty was that we have faculty from different teaching areas. Some were from engineering, some other were from engineering technology, some from construction management, and also we have some from the sciences. We have one faculty from biology, which give us a lot of interesting topics to think about in the development of the workshop, because normally faculty who is not in the engineering programs are not directly impacted by this kind of efforts of incrementing sustainability for engineering students. So later we want to expand it and create a bigger workshop for more faculty, especially faculty who teach engineering students but are not faculty in the engineering programs. For example, biology, mathematicians, chemistry, some of the physics professors. So try to get those faculty also involved with the engineering for one planet framework, which is going to be very useful. We want to thank our mentors. They were very useful for supporting us and getting all these ideas and trying to make everything work good. I also want to thank the Lemelson Foundation and ASEE. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. We have time for one quick question, and then the rest can be done via chat or Q&A pod.
Good afternoon, Nelson. This is James Groves. Hope you're doing well today, Nelson. I wonder if you could quickly comment on your phase 2. One of the things you talk about is following up on following up with the workshop participants from this past fall. Could you give just a little insight about what you were hoping to accomplish through that pending follow-up? Thank you.
Yes, so the idea with that is to keep like supporting the faculty who participated. So we are in contact with them, making sure that they can implement their module. And also that gives us a little bit of a connection for being able to provide them with the survey for them to give to their students. So we can have a better understanding of the impact that our workshop with the faculty have on their students.
Great. And Nelson, just quickly, I mean, I think that's so important with particularly the community college participants. I mean, they're in such a small network, right? There can be one or at most two engineering faculty at those community colleges. So I commend you for that planned phase 2 follow-up. Good job, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next presenter, which is NYU.
Hi, everyone. This is Ingrid from NYU speaking. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about our work to create a common sustainability education experience for our first-year students at our school. I think at least one of our team members, Amakwe, is here, but this is a joint effort between our program in engineering design, mathematics, where Amakwe and our colleague Lindsay are from, expository writing with our team member, Abby, and applied physics with Vikram. And really what this project was born out of was preliminary conversations with our faculty, as well as surveying our students, finding that many of them had not received a formal education in climate sustainability in high school and their experiences prior to coming to NYU. But they sought to learn about the impact of sustainability on both on their careers as well as just within the engineering field at large. This kind of coincided with Tandon also just really picking up pace regarding sustainability at large. We have a new sustainable engineering initiative that focuses not on just education, but research and translation work as well at the school, and prioritized really finding ways to start engaging our students from the moment they walk in the door to the moment they leave as fourth-year students with senior design experience, to know that sustainability should be a core part of their engineering design processes. So really what we've been doing is looking at our core curriculum, starting with these core courses that I've listed here, to see how we can make that happen. And what that has been is trying to find places to introduce maybe some basic climate science that students haven't been exposed to, creating multidisciplinary projects, or just creating more applied work. So problem sets, for example, that Amakwe and Lindsay have created that get to the core of the calculus that they're teaching, but may be framed using a weather problem or modeling problem related somehow to climate. So over the course of the last couple of months, with the support of EOP, we've really been able to dedicate time to developing this curriculum. So as I started saying, in math, Amakwe and Lindsay have created projects and worksheets related to sustainability for our Calc 1 and 2 students. They've also shared and found some resources online related to math and sustainability education. Lindsay actually presented on this work at a mathematics education conference earlier this year, which is really exciting. In physics, in their introductory physics course, they have started facilitating guest lectures highlighting sustainability research at Tandon, just again, letting students know that this is a priority for the school and there's community being built around it, as well as working within Mastering Physics, which is the platform that our school uses for physics assignments to introduce similarly to math. Problems that get to the core and at the surface are just like any other physics problem students might be facing in the course, but are framed around issues of climate sustainability. In writing, Abby has created introductory modules on solar geoengineering and the ethical implications of that work for XPOS 2 students. She's also piloted this with our pre-college students as well, who are essentially high school seniors or juniors who might be taking courses at NYU. And in engineering design, which is where I'm situated, is more of this exposure, piloting lectures on climate science, sustainable engineering principles, and developing modules, particularly around environmental justice and ethics for our students. Just to kind of be, our course is kind of that tie where students get to actually design a project over the course of the semester. It's a cornerstone design course. So it's an opportunity for them as they're navigating these things in physics, math, expository writing, kind of put them into practice and continue the discussions they might have been having in their other courses. And what we're looking at doing next, we're small, but I think we've been able to do a lot together. So a powerful group of committed faculty, and hopefully train other faculty who are interested in using these assignments and workshops as well. Connecting with faculty in other core courses such as chemistry to support their own curriculum development, and continuing to share this work out. And I think just participate in more conversations like this, since we are early in our journey with this. And the way that we've been trying to evaluate our impact has been just more surveys. We've tried to engage students again as much in class as we can. NYU is a little bit unique when where the city is our campus, and getting students all in one place kind of voluntarily can be challenging, especially due to the pandemic. But they do show up to class, which is great, for whatever reasons that may be. But just speaking to them, showing up also to extracurricular things. So partnering with our student council for opportunities to just talk to students about how they're feeling, what they're thinking when it comes to sustainability and climate, presenting our work at conferences, as I mentioned, Lindsay had started doing with math in January. And these survey tools that we've been developing, which I didn't put too many details of here, but essentially take some of these like NASA fundamental climate science quizzes, as well as surveying students' experience learning climate prior to coming to NYU, to hopefully launch a fully fledged study that we plan to submit for IRB approval to formally kind of like launch our foray into sustainability education to the next year.
Ingrid, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're past
That's okay.
our allotted time.
I was gonna say I'm done. So thanks. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. If you have feedback or questions for Ingrid, please put those in the chat or the Q&A pod. Thank you. All right. And next up is Oakland.
Hi, everybody. I am Sarah Beetham. I am an assistant professor in mechanical engineering at Oakland University, and presenting our project that I did with co-PIs Dan Del Vescovo and then John Masono, who are also faculty in the ME department at Oakland. So our project had three main goals. The first one was to develop some new sustainability programs in our department at OU. The second was to expose both faculty and students to sustainability topics, especially guided by the EOP framework. And then the third was to integrate sustainability learning objectives and exposure in our core ME courses. And so our curricular changes were sort of framed by these three kind of categories of our goals. Starting with the first one, sustainability programs. And this is still in its early phases because new programs take quite a long time to get off the ground. But we have, through this program, developed a minor in sustainability engineering, which is right now targeted for engineering students. And it's making its way through governance, but it's been going very smoothly, and there's been a lot of excitement and traction for this program. And we are also in parallel working on developing a similar version of this minor in sustainability engineering for students that come from outside of our School of Engineering, which we're also very excited about. In terms of sustainability exposure, we started a sustainability seminar series through this. So we have been having 3 sustainability seminars per semester, with the goal of selecting topics that can be accessible by both undergraduates and graduate students, as well as faculty, and then selecting speakers who can touch on the different parts of the EOP framework, not just the ones that are very technically minded. So speakers who can speak to environmental literacy, for example, or environmental justice, to help round out the exposure that our students and faculty get. In addition, we've formed 2 sustainability-focused student teams. One of them is competing for the DOE Algae Prize. So their project is focused on developing algae technologies for biofuels. And then another team is a marine energy team, focused generally on harvesting energy in marine environments. And these 2 teams have actually formed the foundation of a student chapter of Engineers for a Sustainable World that we're really excited about, and are growing at the moment. And then lastly, our sustainability and ME courses, the main effort that we did in this kind of goal of our project was developing a capstone laboratory for our required course in fluid mechanics and heat transfer. And so this project has students think about all of the technical aspects of heat exchangers and the fluids and the heat transfer involved in that, but through the lens of developing a geothermal heat exchanger. So heating and cooling using geothermal sources. And so through this, students did reflection exercises as a part of their laboratory to think about where materials are sourced from, what happens at the end of their life, and how this impacts the environment and the people who live in it. This lab was deployed to 49 students in the fall, and this semester will be deployed to about 70 students, which we're really excited about. We're kind of continuously improving this, of course. But all in all, we've reached a really pretty wide audience. So our seminars were pretty evenly split between faculty and grad students. We had a pretty good showing of undergrads as well, and then also members from our community. We also accessed students and faculty from outside of the School of Engineering, especially biology, chemistry, and physics, which we were excited about. And then we've also, as I already mentioned, reached about 50 undergrads in the fall and then another 70 this semester. And so we're really excited to just have this be the beginning of where we're going next. And so just to wrap up, I'd like to thank the Lemelson Foundation, ASEE, and our the valuable guidance of our mentors, Larry Nyes and James Groves. And I think I'm over time, so I will just stop here. But I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We are over on time, so if you have questions or feedback for Sarah, please put that in the chat or the Q&A pod. I don't know why I just muted myself. Moving to the next slide, which is special in that it is a recording. So bear with me.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kimia Mortezai.
Can you all hear and see this?
Yes.
Yes, Alice.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. We'll keep going.
Project with my colleague Arkia Golabi, here assistant professor, mechanical and civil engineering department at Purdue University Northwest. So the title of our project is Additive Manufacturing for Environmental, Social, and Economic Sustainability. So as you may all know, additive manufacturing, which is also known as 3D printing, produce complex shape products from 3D model data, and it produce layer by layer with much high precision and much less material wastage. So additive manufacturing can significantly enhance the environmental, social, and economic, through reducing the waste, enhancing the product quality, and also through the supply chain management, as you can see in this picture. So about our project, our goal was to incorporate the EOP framework within the curriculum of 3 fundamental courses in mechanical and civil engineering department, and also to introduce and to enhance the understanding of sustainability concept for students in both engineering and education programs, and also use the unique capability of additive manufacturing to integrate the sustainability concept into higher education. So the 3 courses that we implemented sustainability was, one of them is elementary engineering design course, which is offered to all engineering majors, including civil, mechanical, and electrical and computer engineering, their first year. And also this course is offered a little bit different than what we exactly offer for engineering to education students, their 3rd year. And also another course is materials and engineering, which is offered to mechanical engineering students, their 3rd year. So we try to use different methods to include sustainability using lecture, group discussion, and of course through assignment to evaluate their understanding. So at the end of each course, we try to
receive feedback from a student to see if their understanding of sustainability has changed, and if they feel empowered to incorporate sustainability in their future career. And as you can see, the results were really promising. Most of the students haven't heard about sustainability, and it was their first time. So they all, almost 80% of them claim that they understand significantly different, and they're absolutely empowered to use the sustainability in their future career. So I want to give a special thanks to our mentors, Dr. Claire Nelson and Christian Dodds, for their guidance, and also I want to thank ASEE and Lemelson Foundation for their support and funding to make this project happen. Thank you.
Okay, and that is the first half of our presentation. So we are going to take an exactly 5-minute break and return at 2:19 p.m. Eastern Time for the remainder of the presentations. We hope you all stay with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'm Ruby May Rubiolu. I'm professor in the Department of Engineering at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. My colleague on this project is Dr. Pablo Rangel from Electrical Engineering. I'd like to start with thanking the ASEE EOP leadership team, Lemelson Foundation, and our valuable and irreplaceable mentors for helping this project to reach its goals. We proposed to incorporate targeted AOP concepts such as sustainability and design, critical thinking, and systems thinking into 2 existing courses, namely project management and capstone projects. These 2 courses are a series of senior design project courses. In addition, we also propose to develop and incorporate AOP concepts into 1 new course titled AI in Engineering and Science Applications. We use the AOP framework as a guide to design course content that address sustainability. In the project management course, we moved sustainability to the design phase as opposed to it originally being a reflection assignment at the end of prototype development. This way, students can now consider sustainability of their product during the design as opposed to at the end of the course. We implemented whole system mapping and measuring sustainability exercises to the project management class, which were recommended to us by our mentor, Steph Kohler, as the students were developing their design, which brought the idea of sustainability home to them. In the AI class, we incorporated exercises that required the students to consider the sustainability of AI solutions, how AI solutions need to be inclusive and are only as good as their training data set. And also we implemented critical thinking into the assignments. An additional course, which was not among the proposed courses that was impacted, was the microprocessors and microcontrollers course taught by Dr. Rangel, which implemented systems thinking and sustainability and design concepts. So far, 51 students in 4 classes have been directly impacted by this project, including electrical, mechanical, civil, and industrial engineering students, as well as mechanical engineering technology students. As part of scaling up, we plan on continuing our efforts and expanding the implementation of EOP concepts to additional classes. We will seek IRB review so we can collect student data for additional assessment of the impacts of these course modifications, particularly on student learning, so we can disseminate our findings moving forward. And if we have time, I'll entertain questions.
Thank you. We do have a little bit of time. Do we have any questions or feedback for Ruby? I'll just give it a minute. Okay, if anything comes to mind, please enter your feedback or questions into the chat pod or the Q&A pod. We're going to move on now to University of Texas, Corpus Christi, I believe.
I think it's for
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, and I can't turn on my video.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. It's disabled.
Uh,
I got hand slapped, so my video is disabled.
oh no. Let me see.
This is Priya Gill.
Yep, I got it. Let me see. Try it now, Priya, and I apologize, Texas Tech.
No worries. Thank you. We are in the middle of nowhere, so sometimes it's forgotten, but it's okay. We are doing So this project was done by Paul Egan and myself. Paul is a faculty in mechanical engineering and I'm in chemical engineering. And so we both added the EOP curriculum, the framework into our existing classes. Paul teaches a class on design, medical design specifically, and he has juniors and seniors. So there were 26 students in his class. And in my class, it's a core class. It's on communication primarily. And in that, there are 72 students. It's a core class. One of the unique things about our program, I think, is that we already have the blessings of our leadership. So we were already ready, good to go. And so what Paul did is he taught more about, both of us used the strategies and we spent a lot of time with our mentors, Darshan and Stephanie, and thank you to both of them. And the students were basically in my class, we went over the entire framework. In Paul's, they went over some elements of the framework. And then in Paul's class, they looked at the idea that they were designing and looking at sustainability as associated with it. In my class, we took a different approach where we examined companies which claim to be sustainable. So there is a list by corporate night. And if you see on number 2 here on the poster, these are the different companies. So there were 15 teams. Each team analyzed one company through the entire framework. So they were in teams of 4 or 5 students. One student took systems engineering, and then they took 2 elements of the framework. They looked at the company, and in the end, their job was to conclude whether the claim of being sustainable was true or not. And it was interesting to see how students found it surprising that we were looking at social issues and we were looking at teamwork, critical thinking as we define sustainability, which is different from the classical definition, which is just related to engineering. And so in Impact, we did a pre and post survey at the end of the semester. We asked for questions like before taking this class, before doing this, how did you think? After doing, how did you think? And we found that students were impacted, right? And they realized that after going through the framework, they realized the importance of sustainability, that realization increased, and how engineering systems are interconnected. So the systems thinking, their appreciation for that increased. And in my class, I also asked a question whether they thought the framework was useful or not, because it's always good to get the student feedback. From our side, we think, yeah, this is cool, but do they think it's cool? And you'll notice that 41% plus to 32% thought very useful to extremely useful, which was very encouraging. And so looking at the future, Paul and I plan, both of us are very connected to the entrepreneurial system also, and we have the blessings of our leadership. So we are going to try to train other faculty at Texas Tech on this system, and also startup companies, because the startups that come in the future, they need to also be considering the framework and their impact on sustainability. So that is in summary our presentation. I would like to thank our Dean's Office, Dr. Nurjan, Rajesh, and Stephen, and also our mentors, Darshan and Steph, and of course, the Lemelson Foundation and ASEE for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. We have one question. Can you tell us a little bit more about the students' findings of the companies?
Sure. And so it was all over the place, but I'll give you a couple examples. For example, Tesla, which is supposed to be very sustainable. I mean, it's supposed to be the gold standard here. And students found that some of their social practices were not sustainable, or they did not meet the standards of the framework, where they were not, the employees, they found on chat rooms a lot of complaints from employees about the hours they keep. So that was one thing which was interesting. Same with Kering, which makes Gucci and all these bags. They had some bad labor practices. But on the other hand, companies like Taiwan High-Speed Railroad, which is in Asia, and somehow the opening comment many students thought they would not be, were very sustainable. Same way with Cascade. So it was all over the place, but generally, and so these are some examples. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you so much. Any additional questions for Priya, please put in the Q&A pod or the chat. And we are now going to move on to work.
Thank you.
Thank you. To the Ohio State University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Sowers. I'm a senior lecturer here at Ohio State in the Department of Food, Agricultural, and Biological Engineering. I'm excited to give you a little bit of insight into our EOP mini grant implementation. So the vision for this effort was to transform curriculum, particularly hoping to prepare engineers to address sustainability challenges. We wanted to work to formalize pathways within our curriculum. There's a lot of ongoing sustainability efforts here at OSU, but not as many formalized pathways for engineering students. By leveraging the existing humanitarian engineering program components, which is a number of courses, a humanitarian engineering minor, and a physical lab space, we work to create and propose what we're calling the Engineering for Sustainable Development specialization within the Department of Food, Agricultural, and Biological Engineering. This would be a specialization pathway for students that are particularly interested in the domain of sustainability and engineering, and kind of give them a more clear and coherent pathway for them to follow. So what did some of these efforts look like? We had a focus on curriculum creation. So we identified existing kind of our low-hanging fruit courses that already were resonating and aligning with the EOP framework. Then we worked to integrate EOP content and activities into a number of courses, while also creating new courses as part of the EOP effort. So we created what was called Buckeye Pre-College Program course, which was rising juniors and seniors in high school came to campus and learned about engineering and sustainability, all the way through our Global Capstone Design course, which is a senior level course. We also were able to launch a new course in the sustainability realm, which is called Intro to Humanitarian Engineering on our Newark branch campus. And we also have that course here in the Columbus main campus. And then the biggest kind of lift of our proposal was proposing our Engineering for Sustainable Development specialization. So that was formally submitted for approval within our department. And then when we think about outcomes, what did that look like? 3 colleges were participating in this effort. 12 courses modified, 68 faculty reached. Quite a few faculty scanned my barcode on my EOP water bottle to kind of share the resources, and over 370 students. So really, we're able to kind of expand into campus. And then we collected a number of qualitative and quantitative data related to this effort, particularly using the intercultural development inventory. And that data is pointing to some positive results as we kind of pack into that. But particularly thinking about this idea of intercultural competence and how the importance in addressing structural environmental racism. And then next steps, we want to expand experiential learning, and then expand outside College of Engineering, right? Bringing in folks from other disciplines, and then continue to institutionalize sustainability here at OSU, collaborating with our engineering education department. And I would really like to acknowledge and thank our cohort, Chair Vance, our mentors, and countless others here at OSU that helped us to integrate this content into our programs.
Great, thank you. We have time for a question or some feedback.
Yes, Susan, it's the Intercultural Development Inventory, or IDI. It's a quantitative pre and post survey that students were taking, so that we've integrated into a number of our courses with the hopes of doing a longitudinal kind of study in the future.
Awesome, thank you so much. And any additional questions for Patrick and the Ohio State University, please put those into the chat pod. Okay, we're now going to move on to UC Boulder.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm Angela Bielefeld. I'm representing my team at the University of Colorado Boulder, and the PI on our grant was Catherine Ramos, and we also collaborated with Joan Tisdale, and we are faculty members in the Integrated Design Engineering program. Our program coordinates the first-year engineering design course that's taken by students across the college. And so the course touches about 700 students across fall and spring semester, and it's taught by faculty from across the College of Engineering. So what we did was we pulled together some sustainability-related resources that map to the learning objectives of the course, as well as aligning with the EOP framework, and offered these different resources to the multiple instructors of the sections of the class in the fall. So this included like an introductory lecture about sustainability. It included an optional assignment related to ethics that incorporated sustainability. Also some project ideas. So the students execute introductory projects in small groups, and then a much longer open-ended project across the semester. So we provided prompts that related to environmental sustainability for those projects, as well as different evaluation rubrics. And so what we found is up in the panel on the top right, we had a pre-survey that all the students in the class take, and if they consent to participate in the research portion, then you can see the results there. So we asked them what their competence was to understand the meaning and application of sustainable engineering. And at the end of the semester, we saw statistically improvement in their response to that, particularly in sections of the course that instructors indicated were highly focused on sustainability. The other thing that you can see is initially the three of us were teaching sections that included sustainability last year, and this year we recruited another 3 faculty to join us in incorporation of different sustainability activities into the course. And then we also created an award to recognize student projects that incorporated sustainability in particularly rich ways. So there is a expo at the end of the term where all of the different project teams display their projects and create a poster. And so we created a rubric, again, mapped to the different elements of the EOP framework. And 4 of us scored the different student projects. 39 of the student design teams volunteered that their projects were focused on sustainability. And so based on the rubric, we recognized 3 top teams where they incorporated different elements of sustainability into their projects. And yeah, I'll end there and take any questions.
Great, thank you so much. We have a question from Cindy. Did you define sustainable engineering in the student survey, or was that up to their interpretation based on the course?
So in the pre-survey, it wasn't defined. So they might not have been familiar with the term specifically. Within the sections of the course that incorporated sustainability, they were introduced to, a formalized definition that included triple bottom line, life cycle, and other elements. So yeah, their definition could have changed between the pre and the post survey.
Great, thank you for that. Any additional questions can be entered into the chat pad, and we're going to now move on to our next presentation, which is from University of Pennsylvania.
Hi, yes, it's Dustin here at University of Pennsylvania. So for my project, I focused on implementing sustainability in the undergraduate curriculum through 2 different classes. One was an existing class, the MEM 1010 Introduction to Mechanical Design, that's taught every semester, but more specifically, this was for last semester's fall 2023 offering. And then a new class I just started teaching for the first time this semester called Bicycles and Mechanical Advantage. To start off, I wanted to be able to use the learning objectives from the EOP framework to drive inclusion of sustainability in each of these classes. So they each kind of implemented different learning objectives from different topic areas. So in 1010, we focused on design, material selection, and environmental impact. And then in the new BITE class, we're focusing on critical thinking, social responsibility, systems thinking, and teamwork. In the class last fall, we implemented this more specifically through a sustainability add-in to SolidWorks. So it's something integrated into the software that we use already to teach design and modeling. And what it effectively does is create a life cycle assessment of a part or assembly of parts once you assign materials, and allows you to choose things like where it's manufactured, where it's used, and where materials are sourced. And you can see the impact of these different decisions on the final product. So the students were effectively asked to start with a baseline list of assumptions, change some things, see what changed, reflect on it, and hand that in. So in 2300, we just started again, but it's a service-based class where students are getting trained as volunteer bike mechanics and also engaging with the community through a smoothie bike project, which is the image you see on the bottom there, where we put blenders on used bikes and use it as a tool to teach engineering and nutrition. As far as impact and scaling, like I said, the class MEME 1010 is offered every semester. I have about 90 students this semester. I had 72 students last semester, so we reach about 150, give or take, per year. The MEME 2300 class is smaller by design, has a max of 22 students because it is a service-based class and also a global seminar class as of this coming spring. So we'll be taking the whole class to Amsterdam over spring break to engage in learning more about a bike-friendly city while we're there. In both cases, I'll be continuing to develop the sustainability integration. There's an abstract accepted to this year's ASEE conference where I'll include more details. And I'd like to thank all of you here for being my community here and the support from the Venturewell ASEE mini grant program, Lemelson Foundation, etc. And I also ended up getting a follow-on grant internal to Penn from something called the Community Collaboratory for Co-Creation to support this work.
Great, thank you, Dustin. So we have one question from Maru. I noticed the nursing department was included. Great, and why specifically?
That's a great question. So that's part of the new grant I got. So it's between, the grant is specifically meant for engineering, nursing, and a community partner. So the team I have, I'm the engineer, we have a nursing collaboration, and a community partner is something called Rebel Ventures, who works with Penn Center for Outreach on engaging in community partnerships. So the nursing professor, faculty member, is more involved in using the smoothie bikes that the engineers create to implement public health awareness events and modules in her course. So she'll be working primarily with nutrition aspect of the program.
Great, thank you so much. Any additional questions for Dustin and UPenn can be put into the chat pod, and we are now going to be moving on to our second to last, I believe, presentation from Virginia Commonwealth.
I'm unable to start my video, but I'll start anyway.
I'll do it again. Here we go. Try it now.
Yes, here we are. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Radhika Baru. I'm an assistant professor in the Mechanical and Nuclear Engineering Department at VCU. And together with my colleagues, Emily Smith from the VCU School of Arts and Jeff Shopley from the VCU School of Business, we represent the Institute of Sustainability, Energy and Environments over at our university. And this is a brand new institute. Our vision is to pursue innovative scientific, technological, policy and social justice solutions for climate, energy, and the crisis as a whole. And so within this perspective, our project specifically is focused on critical materials. These are materials that are indispensable for clean energy technologies, but are associated with supply chain complexities and energy intensive extraction, as well as manufacturing the processes. So ensuring that these materials are available in the right quantities at the highest value will dictate a robust circular economy. And to enable this, we need to develop a workforce. And so this is where we come in. And our project is specifically focused on building on the existing curricula that we have at VCU. Some of it is actually supported by the Venturewell Foundation. And we're building on that platform. And we are developing a series of micro-credential courses. Now, micro-credential courses are not full-blown courses. They are small, short-focused credentials to provide in-demand skills. And so for this purpose, VCU has partnered with Credly to provide students with continuing education units and digital badges. So we already have the micro-credential program. It works really well. And the courses that offer students a flexible way to supplement their core degrees from any discipline. And it's also, we found a facile platform for upskilling. And so here we hope to give it to young professionals in the industry who can use it for green upskilling. And so we are working on developing a series of short videos, 30 minutes at most. 5 videos to begin with, one focused on embodied energy and materials, the other on life cycle analysis, where I give a tutorial on OpenLCA. A third on carbon accounting in manufacturing processes, where students are introduced to GREET, open source platform developed by Argonne National Labs to understand how to account for carbon in any of the manufacturing processes that they're working with. And Jeff and Emily are working on making modules for supply chain resiliency and circular business models. So we want to make a stackable micro-credential course that students can use to work towards a certificate program. And for the assessment, a unique design canvas has been developed where it's kind of similar to the business model canvas, but just focused on sustainability. So it will help students identify what prevents a technology from being incorporated into a circular business model. So it's meant to be in alignment to EOP's critical thinking skill goals. And so far what we've done is we have assessed the scope of the micro-credential course with 135 students in the classes that Jeff, Emily, and I teach, have taught over the fall semester. These are both upperclassmen, so they are seniors as well as graduate students. In my course, which is funded by the Lemelson Foundation, I also piloted the sustainable design canvas and saw how what worked and what didn't work for the students and what would be of interest to them. Some of these student projects will be made publicly available. We are working with ASEE, and so it will be hosted on ASEE's website. We have developed the content and script for the micro-credential courses, even finished recording. We're in the process of editing them before the course is launched. And so the ultimate goal is to basically expand it into an energy innovation certificate, which we will start working with sometime later this year in collaboration with the Dominion Energy Innovation Center, which is essentially a clean energy incubator that was founded and is supported by the public utilities company, Dominion Energy. So having said that, I thank ASEE, the Lemelson Foundation, the EOP Mini Grant Program team, and our wonderful mentors, Cindy Anderson and Fethi Aziz, for their support and guidance. And if there are any questions, happy to answer them.
Yes, I have one question in the Q&A. We have some great feedback as well in the chat pod. What specific role or input did the School of Art have?
So Emily Smith is basically a professor in the interior design department, and they work with materials for building technologies quite a bit, stone, steel. And so it is essential that the students understand where these materials are coming from, what are the supply chain issues associated with it, what are the manufacturing, especially carbon accounting, and getting them in the right form when you use them in buildings. So that's where she comes in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Radhika. And there's a question for you in the chat, and we are going to move on to our last but not least presentation from Western New England University.
I'm not able to start my video. I'm sorry.
Let me look at your name?
Davina?
Davina. Okay, try it now. Yep, all set.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for being here and waiting for this last presentation. I'm Dr. Davina Jaswal from Western New England University. This project was completed by me and my co-PIs, Andrea Kozwala and Lisa Murray. So the objective of this work was to create a sustainable manufacturing pathway throughout our curriculum in engineering. So we kind of came together as Lisa being a first-year faculty, and me and Andrea Kozwala, we are from biomedical engineering. So we wanted to embed focused sustainable modules in each of these years. And hence, we started with our first year, and we tried to map all our modules in on EOP framework. Yet we wanted to create a thread between all the modules so that from next year, students start seeing these threads, overlapping themes, such as in the first year, we have first year and sophomore, they both would see social responsibility. Whereas in sophomore and junior years, students see material selection. And then in junior and senior years, students see this environmental literacy. Again, included with other EOP framework main topics that were covered throughout these. So the methodology that we kind of followed was to first map these modules using EOP framework and the ABET outcome that was associated with each of these courses. We created fun, interactive, constructive learning activities through which we kind of dispensed our learning objectives. We also did assessment using formative and summative format. We used IRB approved surveys to kind of figure out what is their perception of learning based on the EOP framework and specific learning objectives. And then we also did some quizzes to find out the pre and post learning of these from these students. In the end, we kind of collected our student artifacts and we did our data analysis. To give you a brief insight into our modules, so the first year students were in a design group and they had to create something which was like an artifact, which was inspired by cultural themes such as Egyptian or Roman theme. And they had to figure out what were different norms of these cultures and had to get inspired from these cultures and embed them in their design. And this whole module ended up with a gallery walk. In the sustainable prosthetic feet, students were asked to, again, look into organizations such as looking into Jaipur foot manufacturing, figuring out what is the best way to manufacture a prosthetic fit for underdeveloped countries, what are different materials that they can use which are sustainable, such as coconut fiber and rice paper. And then they also did testing with those feet that they manufactured. In the third one, students were given a task to look into the medical waste streams and figure out how much waste are we creating with medical bandages. And students were able to get into the data and, again, give their innovative feedback. And in the last course, that was the senior design senior year, we implemented where students had to deconstruct a medical device, look into the life cycle of that device, map that device on a linear and a circular economy. And then they had to learn about lean manufacturing techniques and how it aligns with sustainable manufacturing. In the end, they actually pitched their whole work to a consultant from a medical field, and he gave them really useful feedback. So throughout this course, our impact was almost 100 students were impacted. 3 of our faculty and others are also interested in getting involved in sustainable manufacturing. We are presenting our work as a workshop next week, where around 45 professors will be attending our workshop at the Keene National Conference. This work has also been accepted as an ASEE abstract, where again, we are going to submit our full paper on that, and we'll include our detailed data analysis in this. So our main objective going forward is that it becomes a pipeline where again and again, students see sustainability and sustainable manufacturing, almost creating a mindset that they can apply in their when they actually go into the workforce. And some of the students did mention that these modules were so innovative for them, they'd never seen it before, and they think that that will really help them when they go into an industry. In the end, I would like to thank EOP for giving us this funding, our mentor, especially Cindy Anderson, for helping us a lot with IRB surveys, and for our technical support who actually helped us tabulate all our IRB surveys so that we do not go into any kind of violation. So thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Davina. So we're actually at time. We have some great feedback for you in the chat, and any questions can be sent in the chat as well. Jackie and Sarah will both be at the Keene conference, so hopefully y'all can connect there.
That's amazing.
We will see you there.
Okay, great. Yes, definitely.
Please bear with me as I switch back to the other slide deck.
We're getting ready for the closing. So Alex is going to share our slides. But while she's getting the slides up, I just want to say thanks for everyone. That
what amazing work you have done. And so on behalf of ASEE and Lemelson, I would really like to thank all of you for sharing your important work with us. It's just so unique and impressive. And your projects are just fantastic. Thanks for joining us today in our symposium. We hope that you found our sessions meaningful. Please take a few moments to complete our feedback survey. We have posted the link in the survey in the chat. This survey is intended for everyone present. So all of you are invited to provide feedback on today's session and the featured presentation. So please take that time. I can see that Akila has dropped the survey in the chat. So thanks in advance for taking a few moments to do this. It's really important not only for ASEE's continued improvement, but we also love to share the accolades with the team members and our sponsor. So just a reminder, this event was recorded and will be posted to the EOP-MGP website in the next week. Additionally, an email will be sent to all that registered to attend today's event. And with that, thank you so much for coming to celebrate Cohort's 2 marvelous achievement today. We're excited to welcome another cohort in a couple of months, as well as continuing to expand this initiative and dedication to sustainability. Now, if you have any questions, please email us at eop-mgp@asee.org. Thanks, everyone. I think we can now stop the recording.